السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Good morning,
السلام ورحمة
distinguished
الله وبركاته.
guest. Good morning, distinguished guest, speakers, and delegate. Welcome to the Warehouse and Inventory Management Virtual Conference, the premier event dedicated to optimizing the heart of supply chain operation in Saudi Arabia. Today, we unite as industry expert, thought leader, and practitioner to explore the innovation strategy, exchange knowledge, and showcase best practice that will drive efficiency and revolution our approach to warehouse and inventory management. Get ready for the insightful journey that promise to transform your professional perspective. Let us embark on this transformation experience together. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الضيوف الكرام المتحدثين والمشاركين، نرحب بكم في مؤتمر إدارة المخازن والمخزون الافتراضي، الحدث البارز المكرس لتعظيم كفاءة عملية سلاسل الإمداد في المملكة العربية السعودية. اليوم نجتمع كخبراء في الصناعة، قادة فكر وممارسين لاستكشاف ابتكرة، تبادل المعرفة، وعرض أفضل الممارسات التي تسعى لتحسين كفاءة الثورة في طريقنا لإدارة المخازن والمخزون. سعداء بمشاركتكم معنا في هذا المؤتمر. دعونا نبدأ هذه التجربة التحويلية معا. اليوم نحن في اليوم الثاني، وسنبدأ بأول جلسة مع أول متحدثة لنا الأستاذة شيرين. شيرين طبعا هي مستشارة ومدربة في سلاسل الإمداد والمشتريات. And she will talk about the warehouse optimization. اتفضل أستاذ شيرين.
السلام عليكم، صباح الخير. كيف الحال جميعا؟
عليكم السلام.
أنا هتكلم برضو ميكس بين اللغة العربية والإنجليزية علشان يعني كل الناس اللي معانا. أنا بتشرف إن أنا بكون أول حد معاكم في السيشن الصباحي، وهنتكلم على ال Warehouse Optimization using Technology. ففي الأول أنا بتشرف معاكم وجودي النهاردة. أنا اسمي شيرين مسلم. أنا زي ما تفضل مستر عبد المجيد وقال، أنا حاصلة على بكالوريوس الهندسة الميكانيكا. اشتغلت في مصانع كتير، منها مصانع سيارات شركة جنرال موتورز العالمية. اشتغلت في الكونسلتيشن من سنة 2005 في مجال السبلاي تشين واللين والسكس سيجما، وسيرتيفايد في السبلاي تشين وبارتنر واسوشيت مع ايبكس او اي اس سي ام في امريكا. فانا بتشرف ان انا معاكم النهارده، واتمنى ان احنا نقدر ان احنا نشارك معلومات جديدة. بنسمع النهاردة عن تكنولوجيات كتيرة، مش حاجة جديدة، دي حاجة بقالها سنين. We hear about so many topics, so many things like technology, industry 4.0, digital transformation. بنسمع عن تكنولوجيات، بنسمع عن أدوات. هي فين وصلتنا فين في المخازن؟ ده الموضوع اللي هنتكلم عليه النهاردة في إدارة المستودعات والمخزون. فمثلا بنسمع عن أجهزة wearable devices، بنسمع عن روبوت أو humanized روبوت. مطلوب مننا ان احنا نحقق efficiency يعني ان انا اطلع اكتر outcome باقل resources، اكتر مخرجات، ازود المخرجات واقلل التكلفة والمدخلات. فبنسمع عن استخدامات الدرونز في المستودعات واستخدامات الروبوت في المستودعات. النظارات اللي هي ناس بتلبسها عشان الفيرتشوال رياليتي، واللي بتعرفني لوكيشن الاماكن بتاعه الباليتس والايتمز بتاعتي في المستودعات. تكنولوجي ريكويرمنتس، في حاجات بنستخدمها في التكنولوجي لنقل المواد داخل المستودعات اسمها AGVs او Automated Guided Vehicles، بحيث ان احنا بننقل الايتمز. انا في مستودع العمليات البوت اواي، ان انا اضع الايتمز في مكانها، وبعد كده اعمل لها بيكنج، وبعد كده بتتسلم وتتشحن. ممكن جزء كبير من العمليات دي يتم بالاي جي فيز او الاوتوميتد جايدد. اللي هي من غير ما شخص يسوقها، هي بتمشي على الارض حتى من غير ما ارسم لها الخط، تاخد الايتم وتودي الايتم. اوكي. ازاي ان احنا نوصل المستودعات انها يحصل فيها نوع من التخطيط باستخدام البيانات اللي موجودة في اماكن البيع، database و database management و inventory optimization. الجزء اللي هو خاص بتحسين optimization using الداتا جوه المستودعات. تمام. ان احنا ازاي نستخدم النتورك اوبتمايزيشن، الشبكات بتاعة التوزيع بتاعتي والمستودعات، ان انا اعمل لها تحسين وتطوير واوبتمايزيشن using التكنولوجي. اوكي. ان احنا نقدر نستخدم تكنولوجي تولز قوية وسريعة، اقدر استخدم الذكاء الاصطناعي في تحديد الايتمز والمستوى بتاعها، وتحديد نقاط الطلب، وتحديد حد الطلب. ازاي ان الذكاء الاصطناعي هو اللي يتكلم مع الروبوت، وهو درون، وهو اللي يحرك البني ادمين جوه المستودع بتاعي. ان احنا نوصل في السبلاي تشين بتاعنا والمستودعات والاساسيات حاجه اسمها end to end، من اول بدايه الطلب حتى الفولفيلمنت، وان العميل يستلم الطلب بتاعه. كلها تكنولوجيز جديده بتغير اللي بنعمله، وبقت بتتطلب مننا كارير سكيلز، بتتطلب من الناس اللي هي بتدير المستودعات people who are managing warehouses new skill set من أول التكنولوجي wearable devices AI data analytics till waste management و sustainability و ESGs how to comply with the future. فالنهاردة السكيلز بقت بتختلف، بقت الطلبات بقت very يعني demanding زي ما بيقولوا، بقت في تحديات كتير. اوكي. طيب انا جوه المخزن، ولاي حد اشتغل في المخازن عنده تحدي ان هو محتاج يطبق التكنولوجي دي، بس with the right balance. Technology is fantastic itself, but by itself if we don't make use of it it is useless. التكنولوجيات عامة والأدوات الجميلة دي كلها هي رائعة، بس هي لحالها لو احنا ما قدرناش نوظفها لمصلحتنا ولمصلحة الأوبريشن ونعمل الاتزان والتوازن، مش هننجح. عشان كده احنا دايما محتاجين ان احنا نعمل اتزان وتوازن باستخدام الثلاثة دول: التكنولوجيات الجديدة، physical assets اللي هي المستودعات بتاعتي، والهيومن اللي هم الأشخاص اللي بيشتغلوا معايا. هدفي ان الثلاثة دول يوصلوني ان انا احسن الاوردر اكيرسي، الدقة بتاعت الاوردرز بتاعتي في البيكينج، وان انا البوت اواي والحاجات دي، وان انا اسلم وان انا استلم. تحسين إدارة المخزون، تقليل التكلفة، والاهتمام طبعا بالسيفتي، لأن المستودعات السيفتي طبعا is number one، اللي خاصة بالبني آدمين أو البشر أو العمالة اللي بتشتغل معايا في المستودع. إزاي أعمل الثلاثة دول؟ مفيش شركة في العالم عندها infinity resources، يعني ما عندهاش ما لا نهاية. محتاج دايما إن أنا أعمل بالانس أو توازن بين استخدامي للتكنولوجيا مع الأشخاص بالأسيتس بتاعتي. الأسيتس أنا محكومة بالكيوبيك مترز في الوير هاوس، هو عبارة عن مساحة مكعبة أنا عايز أعمل لها أكثر استغلال. فعايزة أتحرك من المستودعات اللي إحنا اتعودنا عليها في أماكن كتير للأسف، اللي على اليسار، للمستودعات اللي على اليمين. على اليسار المستودعات ما فيهاش سيفتي، فبالتالي العمالة ما تحبش تشتغل فيها لأن ما فيهاش أمان. شغل المعتمد على المانيوال كتير قوي، اللي هو البشر بدون أتمتة. العمل فيها يعتبر ممل لأن هو نفس التاسك كل يوم، بتتعب الجسم وهي على حساب الجسم. عايزين نتحرك لليمين، ان عندي مستودعات فيها سيفتي، فيها اداء عالي، وفيها efficiency. ثرو ايه بقى؟ ثرو التكنولوجي، الكونفيرز، الفوركليفتس، اللي ممكن استخدم الار اف اي دي، ممكن استخدم الاوتوميتد سورتيشن سيستم، كيبل بيكينج سيستمز، ممكن استخدم تكنولوجيز. بس ده الهدف بتاع اي مستودعات المستقبل اللي على اليمين، مش بس ان انا احسن السيفتي والبرفورمانس والافشنسي، احنا كمان عايزين نبقى سمارت، عايزين نستخدم التكنولوجي. اوكي. طيب الوير هاوس اوبريشن زي ما احنا عندنا بعض التحديات. اولها ان احنا بنحسن الاوردر تكنولوجي، ده اللي بتفيدني فيه التكنولوجي. what does technology bring to my day؟ ماذا ستحضر لي التكنولوجي؟ لما بنتكلم على الدرونز والاي اي والاي جي فيز والارتفيشال او يعني الارتفيشال انتليجنس اللي هو الذكاء الاصطناعي، الماشين ليرنينج، لما نستخدم النظارات والاوجمانتد رياليتي، لما نستخدم الفي ار الفيرتشوال رياليتي. الحاجات دي كلها بتجيب لي ايه؟ بتجيب لي اول حاجه تحسين الاوردر اكيورسي، اوكي، ثرو التكنولوجي، لان انا بستخدم التكنولوجي تساعدني في عملي. بنسميها تكنولوجي اسيستد اوبريشنز. مش لازم ابقى فولي اوتوميتد، بس ممكن اوصل لجزء كبير يبقى اوتوميتد، من البيكينج والباكينج والشيبينج ولحد الاستلام والبوت اواي، ان انا اضع الايتمز في مكانها. من الحاجات التانية اللي التكنولوجي بتفيدني فيها اللي هي تحديد الاولويات. تحديد الاولويات بيزد على الديماند، بيزد على المبيعات، اوكي، بيزد على العربيات اللي هتوصل لي. السيفتي مهمة جدا. enabling ان انا في المستودعات اقدر اعمل new value add services. احنا النهارده المستودعات اوريدي بتعمل خدمات فيها قيمة مضافة، بتعمل باكينج، بتعمل سورتمنت، بتجهز ايتمز، تمام. ازاي التكنولوجي تساعدني ده؟ ان يكون عندي more value، more اسرع، ممكن ابقى اجايل، وممكن اقدم benefits للسبلايرز والكاستمرز في المؤسسة بتاعتي. واهم حاجه طبعا accelerated agility، السرعه في الفولفيلمنت. وازاي ان الوير هاوس كونفيجريشن والايتمز واماكن الايتمز يبقى دايناميك، ما يبقاش ستاتيك، يبقى بيزد على الكونسومشن وبيزد على الايتمز اللي جايه. فبالتالي التكنولوجي بقت بالنسبه لي enabler، اوكي، enabler في كل حاجه انا بعملها. بقت عباره عن systems connected بتكلم بعض. وير هاوس مانجمنت سيستم اللي كلنا نعرفه كونكتد مع وير هاوس اكسكيوشن سيستم اللي هو تنفيذ العمليات جوه الوير هاوس، كونكتد مع وير هاوس كنترول سيستم عشان نقدر كل حاجه بالموبيليتي، بالموبايل، ان احنا شايفين كل حاجه من اي مكان. كونكتد مع اليارد مانجمنت سيستم، اوكي، الكنترول بتاع الايتمز في اليارد بتاعتي. كونكتد مع الوير هاوس اوتوميشن تكنولوجي، الاوتوميشن والاي جي فيز والاوتوميتد جايدد فيهيكلز والراكس والسمارت راكس والبنز والسمارت بنز، اوكي. كونكتد مع حاجه اسمها ليبر مانجمنت سيستم، بلاننج وسكيدولينج للعماله، تحديد السكيلز بتاعتهم. فبقت النهارده كل الحاجات دي في التكنولوجي كلها بتكلم بعض، اوكي. فبالتالي كوير هاوس احنا بقت عندنا كي بي ايز كل يوم عندنا، بس بقينا نقدر نحققها كلها واسرع. بنتحاسب في الكواليتي، بنتحاسب على الافشنسي، بنتحاسب على السيرفيسز، بنتحاسب على السيفتي. كل الكي بي ايز دي سامبل من الكي بي ايز بتاعه الوير هاوسز انا حطاها هنا. في طبعا مجموعه كبيره جدا من الكي بي ايز والبرفورمانس ماتريكس في الوير هاوسز موجوده عندنا في السكور سبلاي تشين اوبريشن ريفرنس السي او ار. موجوده لو اي حد من حضراتكم حب يطلع عليها، موجوده تقدر تعمل اكسس عليها. سكور السي او ار دي اس، اوكي. وهتلاقي الكي بي ايز بتاعت الوير هاوس والبرفورمانس ماتريكس ريليتد كلها لجزء اسمه فولفيل، اوكي. طيب ياخدنا سؤال ايه برضو في السكور؟ ايه المهارات اللي مطلوبة من الناس اللي بتشتغل في الوير هاوسز؟ البيزكس. انا هنا بعد ما عرضت التكنولوجي دايما بدور على الفاونديشن، بسأل نفسي سؤال: do I have the basics؟ do I have qualified people؟ طب انا محتاجة اطور الناس بتوعي، ايه اللي محتاجة اطورهم عليه واعلمه لهم؟ material handling equipment usage is a skill. picking process is a skill. wave or batch picking is a skill. الناس تكون qualified وtrained على الوير هاوس مانجمنت سيستم، kitting and packing, packaging, inventory management, basic transportation, materials classification والماستر داتا والتعامل مع الايتمز. installation requirements لان بعض الايتمز في الوير هاوسز انا بجمعها بعمل value add. environment health and safety regulations. three way delivery، اوكي، verification و three way matching في receiving. so many skills، اكتر من 50 skills مطلوبة. احنا بس نقينا منهم هنا sample عشان نعرضها لحضراتكم. طب السؤال اللي بعد كده اللي الناس دايما بتسأله وبتقول: ايه الكارير بتاعي اللي انا هعمله في الوير هاوس؟ اوكي، ايه الكارير اللي انا هيكون عندي في الوير هاوس او الوير هاوس بروسيس؟ طب thanks to ACM او ايبكس عملوا لنا لادر للكارير بتاع الناس جوه السبلاي تشين عامة، واللوجيستكس والوير هاوس خاصة والبلان. انا ببدأ الكارير بتاعي في الوير هاوس، بطلع بعد كده وببتدي اطلع ستيب باي ستيب. فنفترض ان عبد الله هو ابتدى يدخل عندي في الوير هاوسز وهو لوجيستكس سبيشالست. في كورسز بتديها اي اس ام وسيرتيفيكيشن للناس اللي في الوير هاوس. اي حد انترستد او يحب يعرف عن الكورسز دي ممكن يتواصل مع زمايلنا في اي سي اس، لانها مقدمه من خلال اي سي اس بالتعاون بينهم وبيننا، تمام، كشركه التميز كبارتنرز مع بعض، ايبكس واي سي ام. فبعد كده بيبتدي في كورسز بياخدها في الاول في البدايه في الانتري ليفل في الوير هاوسز. بعد كده بنبتدي نطلع بناخد شهادة Accelerated Professional. اوكي، احنا في الأول الليفل 1 بنركز على الديستريبيوشن واللوجيستكس، لأن فيها جزء كبير من الوير هاوس مانجمنت والانفنتوري مانجمنت والانترودكشن تو سبلاي تشين. بعد سنتين أو سنة عايزة اخد شهادة في الوير هاوس، أو بقالي 5 سنين أو 10 سنوات ومحتاجة أبقى سيرتيفايد. الشهادة الوحيدة في العالم السيرتيفيكيشن في الوير هاوس اسمها وير هاوس سيرتيفيكت بروجرام من اي اس سي ام. اوكي، بنقدمها باللغة الإنجليزية واللغة العربية، معتمدة من أمريكا. بعد فترة لما بكون في الوير هاوس 5 سنين 7 سنين 10 سنين، ممكن اخد شهادة اسمها سي ال تي دي Certified in Logistics Transportation and Distribution، ودي شهادة معروفة عالميا في مجال الوير هاوس. اوكي، طيب احنا في مجال في السبلاي تشين عامة بنقسمه من اول البلان، السورس، المشتريات، الترانسفورم اللي هو التصنيع وتجهيز الخدمات، الاوردرنج والفولفيلمنت اللي هو الجزء اللي يهمنا النهارده بتاع الوير هاوس، الريتيرن والاوركستريت. في مجموعة شهادات كتيرة موجودة في السوق بتساعدنا كلنا ان احنا نبقى كواليفايد ونستعد لسوق العمل ونستعد للمستقبل. انا هنا بس حبيت اوري حضراتكم الوير هاوس سيرتيفيكت بتساعد الناس ازاي في العالم في الكارير ادفانسمنت والفلكسبيليتي والكريديبيليتي. واخر سلايد حابه اعرضها اللي هي خاصه بالوير هاوسز المستقبل. امازون قدمت اختراع بوير هاوس طاير. انا هنا تعمدت اخلي السلايد دي واحطها في الاخر، لان الوير هاوسز الفيزيكال حتى اللي احنا متعودين عليها ان هي موجودة قدامنا وان احنا بنشوفها، وان هي عبارة عن مبنى، والمبنى ده له مدخل وله باب وله مخرج، حتى هيتغير. بقى فيه وير هاوسز طائرة زي الوير هاوس اللي حضرتك شايفه قدامك ده، طائرة زي كده في السماء، متنقلة عشان تخدم على طلبات العملاء. أمازون استخدمته عشان المواد الغذائية، لما الناس تكون موجودة في تجمعات فتقدر تحرك الوير هاوس ده في السماء عشان يقرب ويديهم طلباتهم. طب الناس هتاخد طلباتها ازاي؟ موضح لنا هنا على اليسار، عمل فولفيلمنت بالدرون، ان هيبقى العميل موجود في اي مكان وينزل له الايتمز بالدرون. وهنغذي الوير هاوسز دي كمان بالدرونز، والوير هاوسز دي مانلس كومبليت 100% بلا بشر، بيديرها الاشخاص من بعيد ريموتلي using computer, using technology, using drones, using artificial intelligence, using ذكاء اصطناعي. فوير هاوس المستقبل مختلف، وعشان كده انا بدعو حضراتكم ان احنا نفكر ازاي نطور نفسنا، وازاي نتعلم التكنولوجي، وازاي ندخل التكنولوجي خطوة بخطوة معانا. فزمايلنا اللي لسه، شركات كتير انا بقابلها في المملكة بيقول لي انا لسه ما عملتش الوير هاوس مانجمنت سيستم. بقول له انت متأخر، ولو ما بدأتش محتاج تبتدي وبسرعة. محتاج تشوف possibility of integration، محتاج تزود اليوتيلايزيشن بتاعك بتاع التكنولوجي، لان التكنولوجي موجودة عشان تساعدنا، واحنا اللي محتاجين ان احنا نقرر نستخدمها في ايه عشان نحول التكنولوجي الى asset وليست liability، وليست حاجة احنا اشتريناها وما استخدمناهاش، opportunity وليست threat. انا كده خلصت، ولو في اي اسئلة انا يعني مستعدة اني ارد عليها. شكرا.
يعطيك العافية أستاذ شيرين، شكرا لك. إن شاء الله راح نخلي الكيو أند إيه لكل المتحدثين at the end بإذن الله في النهاية.
اوكي.
And now we will go with the second speaker, Mr. Imad Filimban, the supply chain consultant, to speak about the warehouse and inventory optimization. You're most welcome, Mr. Imad.
حياك الله عبد المجيد. السلام عليكم. Thanks for everybody for having this opportunity to share with you my presentation. Okay. Assalamu alaikum. Today I will talk about warehouse and inventory optimization. So when we talk about warehouse and inventory optimization, صوتي واضح يا شباب؟
واضح
واضح.
Okay. طيب, we are talking about material availability. How we gonna improve the material availability? How we gonna reduce our cost, inventory value or warehouse operation cost? How we gonna improve or increase the service level or customer satisfaction? I focused on 4 pillars in optimization or 4 approaches that I believe that it's very effective in the warehouse operation and inventory management, material flow, capacity utilization, product slotting, inventory optimization. Talking about material flow, and this is very important in the warehouse operation, that targeting to have a smooth material flow, very effective, reducing the processing time. So all these our target in warehouse operation. So going through 3 steps for optimizing the material flow. First, you need to analyze your material flow data. So capturing all this data, whether you have it in historical data or start to do some sort of work study for the activities take place on warehouse, going through the receiving activities, inspection activities, the put away activities, picking and packing, dispatch activities. So having this data and start analyzing this data, then try to identify where is the bottlenecks in the material flow, check where is the area that potential need to be improved, and if we improve it, it will lead to reduction in processing time. It will lead us to cost reduction as well. Example of this, if there is a poor organization in the warehouse or remarkable long waiting time in one of the activities that I'm doing in the warehouse, then after identifying the potential bottlenecks, think about the solutions and how to develop solutions. And you might go for redesigning of the layout of the warehouse by changing the aisles width or shifting racks or changing the area or zones in the warehouse, the operation zones, sorting the zones in sequence might be, or installing some material flow systems such as conveyor systems, assembly conveyor systems, applying the 5S concept also. So this is a very brief approach to utilize material flow or optimize material flow. We talk about capacity utilization. So this is a question also always going into the organizations. Do you really need an extra warehouse, or you need an extra space to be rented? So this is a questions that you need to ask and answer. Usually we are targeting utilization in the warehouse from 70 to 85% and leaving some space for the additional inventory or any unplanned inventory, or even in the season, especially for the food industry. So in order to optimize the capacity of your warehouse, you need to look after the carrying inventory. You need to ask yourself, I'm stocking the right items in my warehouse? And what is the right items I need to store in the warehouse? Usually think about the items related to your core business and get rid of the items that is not related to the core business. Examples like stationery, tools, cleaning items. So safety items like the PPEs, you don't need to store in warehouse, since these items are available in the local market and easy to obtain. And through my experience with the warehouses, I saw a lot of warehouses that are storing stationery, tools, safety items, and this is taking space on the warehouse and even freezing money of the inventory. So by getting rid of these items and having a replacement mechanism, by coordinating with the procurement, that how can get these items easily and fast. Think about the cubic size and quantities expected to be stored. So by knowing this information, you can estimate that the space required to fit inside the racks. So I have seen many warehouses that have a similar shape of the racks, similar dimension, regardless the size of the items is different, and even the quantity. By doing this, you will notice that you have a lot of waste space taking place between the beams of the racks, since I don't have that much big items that can fit in the racks. But if you do calculate the cubic size and the expected quantities, you might tolerate your racking system to be fit for your requirements, and accordingly utilizing available space in warehouse and increasing the utilization. Look after the inventory levels. So you might have some item that you are storing and it's average more than what you need, or even you don't need this item. So you need to look at the item, recalculate the min-max or safety stock. Even safety stock, you need to revisit. Situation is always changing, so you might get rid of the safety stock. So think about the inventory levels, recalculate it, and make sure that you are storing the optimum quantity. Review the layout of the warehouse. So this is, you need to think about the design or the layout of the warehouse. Is it the right layout? And do some changes if required in order to optimize the available space. Utilize vertical space. A lot of warehouses that are not utilizing the vertical space. I saw warehouses height is 20 meters, 10 meters. So there is 10 meters is waste in the vertical direction that is not utilizing. increase the capacity of your warehouse. At the end, you need to think about your storage system that you have. You need to make sure that you have the proper storage systems. Example of this, the packaging items in the food industry, for example, and this is usually you need to keep a big quantity of these items. Most of the warehouses, I saw that they are using the selective racking system, and this is always accommodate small and medium quantities. So this is not a suitable storage system for the packaging items. And maybe you can switch to drive-in racking system, which can accommodate big quantities. Another example, think about items. If you have shelf life, short shelf life items or expiry date items, so yeah, the best way to implement the FIFO, first in, first out, system. You are talking about the ABC classification. You need to be aware of what is your A items, what is your B item, and C items. A item is the most important item that represents around 80% of your inventory value. So by controlling the A items, you are controlling the inventory value, controlling the 20% of your items. So you are serving the operation big time. So having this to keep us will lead to minimizing the pick path, since you have a daily picking operation, and this will have a reduction around from 15 to 30% reduction in the activity or in the effort, minimizing the cycle count time and efforts. This is a daily activity that need to be done in the warehouse. So by having these items close together, you will reduce the travel distance and reduce the effort and the labor man hours, of course, and accordingly the cost. You will reduce or minimize the shrinkage cases or the discrepancy cases, since you have a full focus on the A items, which is the most important items. So inventory value discrepancy, it will not be impacted that much if you implement the ABC. Increase inventory accuracy. Of course, the accuracy will be increased because I'm maintaining the most important items all the time. In order to optimize also your warehouse operation, you need to look after traceability of the items. And talking about traceability, you need to have a way of trace or track your items all the time during the receiving, during the inspection, the put away, and the picking, then prepare for dispatch. And one of the best technology that I can use and easy to implement and not that much cost, maybe the RFID technology. If we implement the RFID for your items in the warehouse, you're gonna have a real-time information all the time. Once the item arrives to the warehouse, starting with the receiving activities, the inspection. So all the time, I'm monitoring my item, and this is also will avoid any delay happening or any errors happens. And usually there is some item that have a delay on one of the operation areas, such as an inspection. and management of the warehouse does not know, and they know after they receive the report, and maybe they're late to know, then they will take an action. But having RFID, this will have an immediate interaction from the management of the warehouse once we have an overdue and fix things or support if needed. Of course, it will improve material availability since I'm tracking all the items and even avoiding any discrepancies. One of the cases that it's a hard time for the warehouse staff is the mislocated items. So they keep searching for this item or looking after these items. And in some cases, the investigation of this item, it takes maybe 1 week to find out these items, especially in the big warehouses. So by having the RFID, I can approach the item within seconds or within minutes, since I'm tracking the item, even if it is mislocated. Of course, it will improve the productivity since I'm controlling the lead time, the processing lead time for each activity, avoiding any delay and having immediate and proper action if there is any remarkable delay. It will improve the inventory accuracy by avoiding or minimizing even the shrinkage cases or the discrepancy cases. It will help a lot on the industry, food, or even the items that have short shelf life and expiry dates. You will be aware of these items that close to be expired. You will have the chance to take immediate action by coordinating with the suppliers, maybe returning the items. And I saw a lot of expiry items, even in a small organization in the food industry, that they are wasting a lot of items because they don't have traceability of these items, and depends on the manual check from time to time. Inventory optimization. So there is many questions that I need to ask myself if I need to optimize my inventory, whether I'm having the right stock. So we talk about this, that I need to stock the items that related to my core business and get rid of the items that is not related to my core business. Try to find another mechanism to obtain these items by coordination with the procurement. Standardizing your catalog. You need to have a standard specific and get the help of the professional software available in the market, such as Biolog, Structure. And this is what's happening in the big organization in KSA. Having the standardized specification, this will allow you to avoid any duplication of the items. I know that there is a lot of duplication on the items in many warehouses, such as the petrochemical sectors. They have a lot of duplication of the item, but they don't know how to capture this because their catalog is not standard enough. Minimize product lead time by having an outline agreement for the potential item or the fast-moving items. And this will make a big drop on the lead time, since I'm avoiding the procurement, the purchasing lead time, or having vendor management inventory agreements. And this will lead you to eliminate your inventory, since I'm storing the items with the vendor and requested whenever I need, then he will charge me. So VMI is very helpful, especially in the repair items. I saw this in the aviation organization that I work with, that they have a lot of repair items, electronic repair items, and these items usually it takes around 9 months to get it repaired and return it back. So by conducting a VMI with the manufacturer, so we agreed to swap the items. He will take my failed item and he will replace it with the good item under his warranty with the fixed amount. So we make a big drop on the lead time, and we eliminate a lot of inventory that I'm always keeping. So we support the inventory and we support the operation as well. Recalculate stock levels, parameters, safety stock, minimum stock, maximum stock level. These are variables. Things are changing, especially nowadays. The supply chain difficulty is taking place, the logistic. So lead time is changing, the forecast is changing, even the customer behavior changing. So you need to revisit your inventory parameters and make sure it is updated, even in the industry that affected by the seasons like the food. So you need always to consider this. Centralized inventory, and this is for the big organizations that have scattered warehouses everywhere in the KSA. So you need to think about central warehouse, and this central warehouse will replenish all satellite warehouses, whether to have one central warehouse or having main central warehouses in the main cities and feeding the small warehouses in remote areas. This will reduce the inventory and leverage the cost in terms of purchasing. You need to monitor the internal lead time, which is taking place with the procurement department and even the logistic department. So you need to keep an eye on this, having the right KPIs, review this with the procurement team, with the logistic team, make sure things are going as planned and no overdue is taking place. So you need to control this in order to control the whole lead time and even to control the availability of the items. Keep close communication with your customer, with your end user, maintenance in the inbound warehouses, in the outbound in the sales. So by having this close communication, frequent meetings conducted just to discuss the requirement of the supply, this will help a lot to understand the situation with the end user. A good story that I can mention that when I joined one of the petrochemicals in Jibel, I was assigned to handle the MRO procurement. Then I found that all the buyers that did not visit the maintenance department inside the plant. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm exceeding the
1
time,
minute.
right?
Yes. Yes. 1
Okay.
minute is.
I will conclude
Thank you.
now because this is the last slide. We push the team, the procurement team, to have a frequent visit to the plant, and this will improve. This is improve the relationship with the maintenance. Start improving the operation, and even discover any situation inside the plant that I don't know, and the information always come late to the supply chain. Put the supply chain under pressure and in the emergency mode. Thank you, everybody, and I hope this is adding value to you, and I'm willing to answer any question. Back to you, Abdulmajid.
Thank you, Ahmad Filimban, for this presentation. And now we will move to another Ahmad, to Dr. Ahmad Al-Sayed, the Chief Executive Officer for Biolog Group, to speak about operational excellence, inventory, and warehouse management. You are most welcome, Dr. Ahmad. Inshallah, the Q&A will be at the end of the session. To all, to Shireen, to Ahmad, to Dr. Ahmad, and to Paul.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Abdul Majid.
Welcome.
Let's share this.
Just to put it in presentation mode and proceed, please.
Yes, I'm going ahead with that.
For the attendance, please, if you have any question, Q&A for any speaker, please put it in Q&A. And at the end of the session, we will just go through it one by one.
Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much to the organizers who have organized this, and it's great learning from each other. Hope you can see my screen. So I'm Imad Syed. I have 22 years of experience plus experience looking into the various aspects of the businesses and especially into the asset lifecycle management and supply chain management. And today, I have an opportunity to share that experience and whatever the expertise that we have gained with everybody. So I'm starting from, I have seen the sessions, very good information, very good approaches. But today, what I'm going to actually bring to the table is that everything that we are talking about today is actually about the data. Data, data, and data. If we do not have the right data, we'll not be able to make the decisions. And we have seen over the several decades that how the industry has evolved. And since Industry 4.0, the data has become actually the core foundation for that. And as part of 4.0, since everybody was trying to get on to 4.0 and 5.0, Industry 5.0 is actually been evolved or introduced, and we are still catching up on Industry 4.0. And today as well, if you look at the Google search or the trends, whatever we are looking at, if you look at that, data has been consistently searched across the globe. And only recently we have seen the AI is actually picking up the search. But again, AI, without data cannot make any decisions. So what I wanted to emphasize is that, yes, we have a lot of challenges, but majority of the challenges can be addressed by, correcting or bringing in the right quality data, which is underneath it. Now, going on to the subject of it, what are the different factors? Everybody, I think, on this forum understands that there are a lot of factors that influence inventory and warehouse management and different functions as well, such as maintenance, production, logistics, sourcing, and warehouse. And these are the things. However, what we are trying to, bring in is a different angle, different approach, wherein we would like to look from the data perspective. So what is the data that is associated with these functions? Meta and master data, we'll talk about that just now. Spares and equipment criticality, this is also something that is missing in majority of the organizations. If you don't have that, then obviously the inventory holding cost will go up. Demand and planning, still manually done, not automated. Not looking at the legacy of it, not looking at the consumption history of it, several organizations, and then sourcing, lead time, pricing, routing, and all of that, and procurement and logistics. So if you look at these factors, we'll just deep dive into that. What are the key challenges if you really look at it? I think, 9 out of 10 organizations today, they do not have a real-time visibility of the stock. Probably they have something, but is it really the true stock? True forecasting, true sourcing information that we have? We don't have it, and people are spending millions and billions into the inventory, and they are just holding on to it, and that's what is causing a lot of problems, going forward. So that's one of the things, which means that there's no visibility or very little visibility when it comes to the inventory holding cost, why this is going up and that. Why? Because the underlying data is sick. And as long as the data is sick, we will not be able to address the core problems, because data has been the foundation and now it has been realized by everybody. The other thing is that low adoption to latest industry technology trends. Even, we are serving more than 100, organizations annually from the warehouse and supply chain management perspective and the inventory optimization perspective. What we see is that low adoption of the technology because they are not ready. The reason is twofold. One is, nobody would like to just invest into technology until they see the value realization. Then the second thing is the data is sick. And again, I'm going to talk about data, but it will make sense why I'm talking about that, by end of this session. Then high impact of inventory holding cost on balance sheet, which is really kicking the profits down because it's a higher capital, working capital, higher inventory cost, which is not movable, and nobody knows what exactly it is. Yes, there are some organizations who are smarter enough to dissect and bisect the inventory and see why the costs are going up, and they are optimizing it. But still, they are not reducing the cost by 2 or 3%. But if you follow a value engineering approach, which I'm going to now share, we will be able to achieve, year on year, 7 to 8% year on year, with that approach. What is it? We'll look at it. And then there are a lot of trial and error models or methodologies, because nobody knows a perfect answer. That's why they try this, they try that, they bring in a tool, they, automate it, they try to evaluate something, but they do not have the history of the consumption. They do not have the history of the lead times, and all of that is missing in majority of the systems. Yes, if you have ERP, you have all these placeholders, but it's again a trial and error method. And then inventory targets. We would like to achieve this target, that target. However, the models are not supporting. But with the AI in place, with the introduction of various technologies in place and best practices in place, we can actually achieve several of them. And then the other thing is from a process perspective as well. Is the process well designed? I mean, the inventory management, which is the plan to inventory process, is it well designed? If it is not, then we need to refine and redefine. There are several organizations who are practicing the old processes and still they would like to actually have the benefits of this era. Now, what is the value engineering approach? From our approach, from Pilog's perspective, what we do look at is two things: either improve the efficiency and effectiveness of the function, or reduce or optimize the cost. Either of them. So the value engineering approach actually really looks at from the bottom up to that. So if you have this kind of approach, then early warnings can be looked at a bottom level. And then if you are putting in any tactical efforts, going forward, you will be able to achieve the operational goals, which means that return on investment and all your strategic goals will be answered with that value engineering approach. Now, what is the roadmap? Generally, we eat and sleep data, and we are one of the contributors to ISO 8000, which is, information quality standard. ISO 22745, 29002, because all these are the standards that are helping us, guiding us to build the foundation now better so that in future the systems can exchange autonomously the data between themselves. So what we have done is that we have developed, for achieving the operational excellence, we have developed, certain steps. So this is a 7-wave process wherein you start with the discovery of it, where we stand, what is it, and then you do a process, the data health maturity and process maturity, and then look at the as-is models of it and go through that. I'm just sharing it because it's really a longer topic, and it takes time. But I just wanted to put forward, what we have practiced with several of the big organizations and how we could bring down the inventory holding cost by millions, hundreds of millions down. Now, what exactly is the discovery, analysis, and orchestration process? We look at the master and metadata quality. And 9 out of 10 organizations, they do not have the glossaries or taxonomies or hierarchies. Because of that, you do not have the standardization. You do not have the normalization of the data, which means same item is being referred by different people, different functions, different departments differently. and same item is actually fitting it into various equipments or various assets. However, the nomenclature is different. So we look at all of that. And then criticality of the spares. Again, when we want to do the criticality of the spare or an equipment, and by the way, I'm talking from a MRO, inventory optimization perspective, not from the other one. So from a criticality perspective as well, where does this particular spare fit in, and how does that impact the entire process of the production, and whether it is critical or not? If it is critical, then what should be the inventory optimization parameters, which is the EOQ, economic order quantity? There are formulas that every engineer knows, but how to get the right values is the actually trick here. And then some of our peers have spoken about inventory qualification and quantification, which is obsolete, incorrect, surplus. That's also something that we look at it. However, what we do is we take the data out of the system, and then we make sure that we build a model out of it, which is nothing but an AI model. Once we build the model, we know the trends, which spares requires what kind of inventory, during which time, during the shutdowns, or any other events, and why do we require that, and why should we have higher or the lower inventory levels, depending upon the lead time, depending upon the criticality, all of that. So we build those models going forward. And then again, the other thing that we look at is that, do they have the proper ERP implemented? Because everybody has implemented ERP, the big businesses and also the medium businesses. However, whether it is implemented correctly or not is the important thing, because many a times, there is an issue of the spares that is coming in, receiving of the spares, but the historical, tables where the transaction need to populate certain fields, those are not filled in because it's not configured, and then you won't be able to learn the pattern. So that's something that we look at it. And then the process maturity, like I said, at this point in
It's
time,
11 o'clock.
at this point in time, whatever the processes that we are looking at, we can only do the descriptive analytics. And if you do the descriptive analytics, then you won't be able to do the predictive analytics. That's what we have to get to if you want to optimize the inventory. And then data unification, standardization, and harmonization, that's the foundation for getting the right inventory and planning for the warehouses. Now, inventory optimization strategy framework, there are several things. I'm not going to read out of it. I'm sure some of you would get, the decks if it is allowed to be shared. But balance demand and supply, which means that from the initiatives and actions, reduce the inventory levels by looking at the models. And I'm talking about AI models that are learning on its own. Again, these AI models are not built in within the ERP. Those are built outside as an add-on. And then reduction of excessive demand, because sometimes the same spare is being demanded by several plants. Until and unless we have the centralization, like our other peers, industry peers have mentioned, we won't be able to address the demand. And consumption based on warehouse replenishment as well. And then lowering cycle times, and how many times we do the cycle count. Not everybody does, but big organizations are doing it and relooking at it, and relooking at the safety stock, relooking at the reorder point, and managing the critical network constraints, such as, we in many cases, we found that the lead times are on a higher side because, those are manufactured by the West. Whereas the same spare is available with the same form, fit, and function closer to us with lesser lead time. So should we really keep that? So those are the things that we look at it. And then advanced buffering analytics is another thing that we look at it with regards to the service level, wherein the vendor managed inventory is another option that we can bring in. And then again, automation and sensing it, predicting is what we would like to implement as part of the organization. And there are certain industry benchmarks. Every time we are asked these questions, saying that what happens to this, how much is it being reduced? So we said, if you do effective stock control, the cost reduction, like I said, 6 to 8% year on year. This is really a big number. If somebody is having $100,000 inventory. So I'm just giving a small example of that, though we are dealing with the organizations who have billions of Saudi Riyal or AED inventory, but 6 to 8% year on year is a very, very good, achievable target. And then reduction of non-moving stock, that's also less than 10% value of overall stock is something wastage reduction. Reduction of space in warehouse damage due to shortage conditions or shelf life, that cost reduction is approximately 5. So if we look at all these industry benchmarks, we are not just talking about it, we are practicing it and we are establishing this. And there are some business cases that we can share even within Saudi Arabia as well, where we have saved them a lot of money in terms of, in fact, much more than this. And such as now in case of capital projects, in case of plant expansions, in that case, even we have written proof wherein we have saved millions of dollars. The reason being is that our approach from the data perspective. The reason being is from bringing the governance of the master data as well as the metadata quality. The moment we bring in that, the performance improvement is absolutely tremendous. Nobody understands the value of that at that point in time while you are doing the project, but it's actually an input to various functions, be it to the maintenance, be it to the procurement, be it to the sourcing, be it to any of that. So inventory. So governing the master data and metadata is something that we are advocating. If we have the technical dictionary, if we have the standard specifications that are easily understandable, are exchangeable with the vendors or with the manufacturers, that's the way to go, because many a times we have found that 3 to 4% of the stock that is being in the inventory, that's not usable. Why? Because it's a wrong order. How, wrong orders were placed? Because the specifications were misunderstood. Just, the speed of a motor. I mean, that matters a lot. But somebody has ordered, 100 motors, but the speed is different. You cannot use it. What do? You return it. Or to hide it from the management, you just, park it aside until your tenure is finished. And that's really the bad thing, because the data is not standardized. The data is not unified. Now, there are several processes within ERP wherein you can actually implement the processes, end-to-end processes. We all know these: source to pay, source to contract, plan to produce, and all of that. But today it's plan to inventory. When we look at the plan to inventory, warehouse planning is something, again, it's a huge topic. It's the topic that requires a lot of time. Warehouse setup, and these days, if you look at it, robotics is coming into the warehouse setup and issuing a issue, or be it picking up, be it receiving it. Robots are working because there are larger organizations where the inventory is huge, that you cannot deploy the resources, the human resources. That's why the robotics. So whenever somebody is setting up, plan it from the automation perspective, plan it from the robotics perspective. If you don't do that, again, if it is a larger organization, going to have billions of dollars of inventory or billions of SAR of inventory, then this is the right time for us to set up the robotics. If it is a smaller one, which can be managed by the human beings, that's fine. But plan from that perspective, because AI is here to stay, robotics is here to stay. And storage conditions, again, this is something we have seen, that the items or the inventory is mixed with each other. And we have seen, I mean, sometimes when you look at the pictures and, everything is dumped into one area, dumped into one bin. So the storage conditions, and then, the bin planning and all of that is important. Yes, only for the chemicals, everybody is looking at the storage conditions, but there are a lot of other things that for which also storage conditions need to be looked at. Goods receipt is as well, goods issue. Again, if you have a system which is being deployed properly and configured properly, then all these things can be implemented. And next gen IM, which is inventory management and warehouse management, as well as the vendor management, because vendor management is also crucial as part of it. Now, what are the benefits? Quickly on the benefit side: improved inventory visibility, total cost reduction, as well as potential savings, and support maintenance and operations, because this is all about operations excellence, because we do not have money to just hold it onto the inventory. We need to get money out of the inventory, extract that. And again, Saudi Arabia is now planning to have the virtual warehouse. It's going to have the logistic park, which is a great initiative. And I'm wishing and hoping that, that would also address the inventory holding cost of several organizations, because you can have shared inventory, because that's also something that is in the pipeline. And then standardized short and long descriptions is something. And then zero downtime during the maintenance. That's important thing, because during the maintenance, we know that how many items get created in the ERP systems, how many requests are being placed. I mean, it's huge. Why can't we prepare it? Why can't we proactively do that? Then supply to material and product category linkage. This is also important, because now whenever any tender is sent out, or anything is floated, any RFQ is floated, it is being sent to majority of the vendors, because it's not properly mapped. So supplier to material and product category linkage, and then extended partnership. So let's look at, 80% of inventory is supplied by probably maybe 20% of vendors, let's suppose. Then we look at those vendors and then have a strategic partnership with them, be it from the warehouse management perspective, be it outsourcing the inventory to them. But you can definitely, improve the operations excellence, and domestic versus, import. This is also a big thing, but I know as part of Vision 2030, Saudi Arabia is looking at cutting down the import and improving the localization, which is a great initiative again. So if you still have any questions around that, here, or I could be reached out on my email as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ahmad Sayed, the Chief Executive Officer for Biolog Group. And we will leave the question at the end. And now let us move with the fourth speaker, Mr. Paul, the founder and Chief Strategy Officer at Versen Technology, to transform MRO inventory optimization.
Yeah, thank you very much. Before Paul takes over, I would take 1 minute. Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for giving us this platform as an organizer's ECS to arrange this conference. My name is Hasnan Jamil. I'm the CEO of Beeline Middle East. This topic is holding a lot of industry challenges, I would say. And over the 4 decades, Beeline is serving Saudi Arabian industrial plants and managing the global MRO complexities. We started from simple telex machines, doing simple tactical trading business models, to more ERP interfaces oriented or innovative service models in the last 40 years or more than 40 years. We take pride that Beeline has been part of procurement evolution in the kingdom, together with our partners and customers. During especially this transformation journey, we adopted many technologies addressing challenges to address our customer needs. Post-corona and pandemic, where the supply chain disruptions took place, industrial plants faced many difficulties, many challenges related to optimizing their inventories and reducing waste. At the same time, they wanted to ensure parts availability to achieve their operational efficiencies. So the inventory held in the form of investments or even stockouts at some times created huge risks and affected operations and the core missions of our clients. So we took it as an objective for us to help our customers fulfill their missions, and also in line with our commitment towards Saudi Vision 2030 in creating local value. We adapted many innovative technologies and leading to some conventional ones, where Mr. Imad Filmban also talked about having not stocking the parts and maybe suppliers stocking it, PPE items, or even the items which are not critical. So we adapted those conventional technologies by offering to our clients some BMI concepts. At the same time, installed some vending machines on paper usage system. But we wanted to also address this topic in terms of with the current environment, which is AI based. And with that technological advancement, we have partnered now with the industry experts from USA. Verusen, which is, they are very much specialized in MRO inventory optimization through basically their state-of-the-art AI-powered technology. and they are addressing working capital reduction at the same time ensuring parts availability to optimize overall operations for our clients. We are very much confident to create local value, leverage through Verusen's US-based technology, expertise, intelligence, and experience, and to address this industry's a very important challenge and topic. From here, I invite Mr. Paul, who is the founder and chief strategy officer of Verusen. He will walk us through to the service offering and explain you the ways of addressing this challenge. Thank you very much. Over to you, Paul.
Thank you. It's a great honor to be able to partner with V-Line Group and be able to participate and address all of you. So thank you for the time. Thank you for the opportunity. As mentioned, calling in from Atlanta, Georgia, US. I'm the founder of Verusen, and today we wanted to talk about MRO optimization and collaboration, and some elements that are happening and changing on how organizations can simplify how they manage MRO, and how technology is playing a key role in that transformation, in line with many of the initiatives that have been discussed here today and that are going on in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Let's see. Before we get into the details of the discussion, as we developed our technology, we've been into market over the last 5 years. I spent 15 years in manufacturing and MRO and supply chain, and certainly from the presentation that we just had in depth on data is very, very important. But as we go into this discussion of what's important for inventory optimization and procurement and managing risk so that you have what you need where you need it, we like to lead off our presentations to just forget about and re-look at the problem. The outcomes matter. Certainly data matters, but with AI and advanced technologies and scalable software, data is no longer a prerequisite to drive the outcomes that you're looking for and your organizations are looking for operations, procurement, reliability, and engineering individuals to be able to work together to ensure that they have what they need where they need it, and that the supply is there to meet that demand. So we're going to go through why is MRO such a problem? How is AI helping improve understanding of data across systems and across entities? And how is it helping people collaborate more effectively internally as well as externally with suppliers, which will help lower risk and lower economic investment in inventory? And what does the future look like? It's very early in a supply chain technology renaissance, and we're going to see more and more purpose-built technologies and AI native technologies that will be able to support your businesses across your supply chain. So who is Verusen, and why do we look at MRO optimization as holistically as inventory, procurement, and spend and sourcing, and risk, and data? It's a combination of all of those things. All of those things influence each other across people, across systems, across processes. And so when we say MRO optimization, it's all of those things in a single experience, so that both the systems and the processes and the people can work together and collaborate internally and externally with partners, where they can share that demand with V-Line and other suppliers, and be able to fulfill that demand more effectively through many of the strategies that have been presented here today, and just simplifying and configuring and building a more sustainable opportunity. So we looked at this problem several years ago, and today we have now developed deep learning neural network technology that can understand data in its existing form and allow you to lead off a transformation of your material spend and then clean up data as we go. We are saying that clean data is important, but it's no longer a prerequisite for you to get started optimizing your supply chain. And so we have, trained deep learning neural networks with tens upon tens upon tens of millions of parts. And so that brings high confidence and training to recommendations that are presented. We manage over $4 billion in indirect spend and inventory for our global customers. And we consistently achieve 15 to 20% opportunities that are presented and then taken and then realized over a period of time. MRO obviously takes quite a bit of time to burn down and utilize from where things are at now. And we're very lucky to have great partners from a systems perspective, and then obviously the opportunity to help support your businesses within the kingdom is something we're very excited about. So why are we here? Why is MRO such a problem? I think we've been hearing it through many of the presentations over the past few days, and it's really human entry, right? So humans are entering the digital data for physical goods, and it becomes very dirty and duplicative. Systems don't understand that. We'll go further into that. And you have, really system problems, processes problems of how do different functions work together to satisfy their individual needs. And it leads to a larger insurance policy in inventory than you actually need. And this is, where organizations, while any given organization wants to run as efficiently as possible, it's difficult to do so. And so procurement has an incentive to drive out cost traditionally. Operations really just wants to keep assets up and running certainly thinking about expense, but would happily carry more. And that's typically what happens because they don't trust the data, and the central focus of this is really trust in data and trust in one another. And then suppliers are burdened with the bad data that organizations have and makes it difficult for them to meet service levels and put in VMI solutions and do many of the things that they need to do to support the business. And so over the past couple of years with the pandemic and COVID, it really put supply chain into a tailspin. And so at that point, to reduce risk, which it really is all a risk exercise. So as we're modeling inventory optimization recommendations and procurement recommendations, it's all based on service levels. But a lot of it is a kind of a intuition or a gut feel from an operations professional. And so what we've seen over the last several years or after the last couple of years is that now we're in a place where inventories are inflated significantly, and tail spend, which is buying from suppliers and places wherever you can get the part or material, has grown. So your prices are varying and you're not as efficient with strategic suppliers, and risk hasn't really gone down. And so now I did a webinar here in the US earlier or yesterday about this is really an important time for MRO, for organizations to quickly wrap their arms around it and be able to start taking action. And when we start with data, it's back to what I mentioned earlier. We started this, the physical good starts its life and, a Siemens motor is produced and everything about that motor. But as it passes through the supply chain across your organization, across V-Line's organization, it becomes different representations of itself. And certainly ISO 8000 standards and things, can be placed upon it, but it's typically that human entry that becomes a problem. So I call it this, my other business unit calls it that, and you get a lot of duplication and misunderstanding from a systems perspective, which you don't know about. And so we looked at that problem several years ago and said, what if we could create a deep learning neural network for MRO specifically that could be highly confident in understanding, I call it this, my supplier calls it that, their supplier calls it this, but it's really the same thing. And so off of that, we've been able to have a deep understanding of data and be able to use that understanding to present inventory recommendations by material, by plant, allow you to create virtual networks and scenarios to be able to create hub and spoke models and centralization models, and really attack this from a new perspective and drive incredible economic as well as operational efficiency across the organizations. And what is this translated to? So this is, kind of industry agnostic, vertical agnostic, and system agnostic. So we've been able to do this and start driving not only a big wave of inventory optimization in the form of reduction, but also being able to say, where do you need more to reduce risk? You may need more of this part and a lot less of this part because of reasons that we see in the data. And we've seen that translate to huge economic savings that can be agreed upon across different functions and then realized to the bottom line in your P&L and then scaled across your organization, whether in the kingdom or in other areas. And so how do we get this information? Typically, a software implementation, you look at inventory optimization software, you look at spend software, you look at risk software, and then obviously you have to lead any of those traditional softwares with an independent data cleanse and categorization to make them work. That is no longer the case. So what we can do is we go into your ERP, your EAM, your procure to pay systems. We pull relevant information on spend and usage over a historical period to create a baseline. And then we centralize it and aggregate it into one single view that all users, whether they use it every day as a system of routine, whether it's procurement, operations, reliability, executives that need to see, opportunities and where they're at, can see that, make decisions, and be able to then put that back into the system so that your systems of transaction and your systems of record can do what they do best. So think of us as this brain you can plug into the Frankenstein and be able to understand and be this connective tissue for you. And so we really look at most organizations, because of the data problem and trying to drive cost savings and really find that that value, tend to try to buy better. And as we looked at that in a new way, we also said that inventory is not only important to maximize uptime, but it's really it confirms a demand signal. And obviously, in the world, supply and demand helps influence procurement. So if we can get people to put their name on something and say, this is what I need to run efficiently, then we can buy more effectively versus the other way around, which happens in MRO mostly. So make it very simple to present by material, by plant, and then take that information and make suggestions of how and when you should buy.
We'll have just 1 minute to wrap up. Thank you very much.
Yep, I'm wrapping up. Thank you. So as we confirm that demand at a individual facility and asset level, we can then do it as a network level to satisfy those people on the plant floor, as well as look at what can the organization do to lower their working capital without increasing risk, both from a inventory and a spend perspective, and then be able to sustain and scale that. So why are we different, and what approach can you expect from the partnership with V-Line and Veresen? Is we're very simple. You don't buy Veresen and then have months or quarters worth of projects and integration and all this. You buy Verison, we can get data out very easily out of any system that you have. And we onboard you quickly so that within 90 days, you'll understand the opportunity and be able to begin executing that. We can configure and allow you to create workflows that get approvals through so you can execute the opportunities that we find. And because of the deep learning AI, we are able to continuously learn the why and transfer knowledge that usually wouldn't get into the system and be able to scale that across the organization. So our partnership with V-Line Group, we're excited making this available to whether it's systems, processes, and people. We have a very simple process that we can extract data and build a business case very quickly in less than 5 to 7 business days. And then we can work with you, and we're your partner. So as you're onboarding and starting small and scaling up across the organization, we're able to be there with you with customer success and make sure that everyone's trained, everyone's understood, and that we're executing the value that helps you focus on your business. Thank you again for the opportunity, and forward to answering any questions and learning more your businesses in the kingdom in these great initiatives. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Paul. I will just have some question for all, for Shireen, Imad, Dr. Imad, and Paul. So there is a question, okay? What are the best practices for arranging inventory, for example, below? Zigzag location is EQ, daily order volume is 400 to 500, cluster picking type, the number of picking of SKU per day is 10,000, number of picker 2022. The warehouse is divided to 3 zones. Medicines have 8 aisles, domestic product have 8 aisles, Tempus and milk. Okay. And of course, the zone has different people picking their order. Anyone could respond, either Shireen, Imad, Dr. Imad, and Paul.
I will defer to someone in the warehouse management space, because that's definitely a warehouse management
Okay.
problem there. Yeah.
Okay, Dr. Imad or Imad?
Yeah. Let me just quickly take a flyer here. See, the question is actually talking about a bigger challenge, and we need to look at it from the automation perspective, AI perspective. So when it comes to the warehouse design, again, there is no quick way to design it, be it picking up or that. It all depends upon what kind of inventory you have, what kind of items that you have, what kind of racking that you have. But by looking at the problem, what has been mentioned, I personally feel that it is the AI related stuff that we need to bring in, and robotics is the way forward if you want to solve a problem like that. Thank you.
Abdulmajid,
Yes, if you have anything to add, yes. Please.
Yes, I think absolutely, yes. Situation need to be assessed, and then determine what is the best practice to arrange. But nothing is can be selected immediately, and we said this is the best practice.
Okay. Is there any question also? You can put it in Q&A. Okay. Since there is no question, so we can have our break from 10:32 to till 10:45. And we will come back with the second session at 10:45. Thank you very much. See
Thank
you
you
in
very
the
much.
second session.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you, everybody.
you all.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Shireen.
Ross.
Thank you, Imad. Thank you, Dr. Imad and Paul. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Look forward to working with you all.
How's Atlanta?
It's good. A little rainy and colder right now here in the winter, but overall, it's a lot of fun. There's a lot going on in the supply chain space, and we, there's a big push to continue to innovate. So we have a lot of, we jokingly call it the supply chain technology capital of the world, but there's a lot of fun going on in supply chain. Yeah.
I think because we are in break, so we can talk about all the supply chain and procurement and everything.
Yeah.
First of all, your presentation was really great, and we thank very much Hassanin and his team because we have very good relation with Beeline.
Yeah.
And of course with everybody, but Hassanin always very supportive for us, and Beeline also. I thought Hassanin, I have the longest relationship with one company, more than 40 years.
Yeah.
So from the founder and now Hassanin and yourself, and I was just talking with Dr. Muhammad. I was talking with Dr. Muhammad, and they said that it's now we are thinking about another conference this year.
Yeah.
Because we saw so much interested, and people they want to see it now this time face to face. So now we are thinking about another one.